Derrick Parker. I'm a retired NYPD detective, the guy who started the hip-hop squad. Well, I knew sooner or later Tekashi69 was going to get arrested. He was out here in the public eye too much. He was doing a lot of stuff. He was involved in a lot of things that went on in the street with some of the people that he ran with. So it was only a matter of time before the police caught up with him. There were too many things, too many incidents that he was involved with that they were paying attention to, and they knew they were going to come after him sooner or later. They were going to do him just like Bobby Shmurda got done.
Now, what's the difference between Bobby Shmurda's case and Tekashi's case?
Well, Bobby Shmurda was taken in a state prosecution. His case, the cases are similar, but they're different because Bobby Shmurda was looking at somewhere between 3 and 9 years in his case because it was state prosecution. Now, on the federal level, with Tekashi69, we're talking about something entirely different. He's looking at a lot of years, and a lot of years because they have him involved in a racketeering influence corrupt organization, RICO. They got him on a lot of violent acts, probably by 8 or 9 counts of violent acts where he was involved or where the gang members that he ran with were involved. There was interstate commerce, when that means you go over to another state and you're traveling to different states committing crimes or having money and things like that, exchange of money, drugs. They can all tie those things into feds. They do a federal RICO and they bring everybody involved. And now the feds have a 90% clearance rate on their cases. That means when you get arrested, you become a cooperator, whether you like it or not. If you don't become a cooperator, then you do the time. And you do the 20, 25 years. But most guys in the federal system, they cooperate because they're looking at a lot of years and a lot of time, and they want to get out from under that because they realize, you know, a guy like Tekashi69, in his case, he's still young, and you don't want to be in jail a lot of years because you're going to miss out on what he could have become. I mean, the guy's very talented. From what I know about him, his music, he was on his way for becoming a big star, and as a result of it now, look where he's at right now. He's falling right into the same category as Bobby Shmurda, but on a higher level.
Right. And you told me before we got on camera, you told me something about his the district.
He was prosecuted in the Southern District. The Southern District is like, it covers Manhattan and the Bronx. The Eastern District covers Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. So the Southern District has a high conviction rate. They deal with a lot of different crimes, financial crimes, a lot of big cases. So he really got prosecuted in the wrong place. Not to say that the Eastern District is weaker, it's just that the Southern District is a little bit more, what's the word I want to use?
Hard, strict?
Just a lot stricter but bigger, you know, in that case. And, you know, they're looking to close this case out one way or the other with a conviction or him doing time, and that's exactly what Tekashi's looking at right now.
And certain things he didn't participate in himself, but just because he was around them and it's considered a criminal organization, basically, because it's a gang, that they can still take him down for some of those crimes, you know, just for being around those guys. Is that how it works?
And that's how it works. That's correct. Because he was involved with several individuals that were part of a gang, the 9 Trey Bloods gang, that were out here committing violent acts, and they were an organization. He's part of that organization. And he's the guy with the influence and the money, you know? Not only committing the acts of violence, but he's the guy with the money. You know, I'm not saying that he's the leader of the gang, because he's very young. If you notice, all the guys that got arrested with him are much older than he is. You know, but the only thing that helps him a little bit is that he fired everybody right before he got arrested or got taken down. And his case is being tried in the public right now because there's a lot of public opinion about, you know, the wiretaps. There's public opinion about him setting up. The one thing that hurts him is him setting up the shooting with somebody at the Barclays Center and one of the shootings that took place in the street. So that hurts him a lot because, you know, it shows his participation as one of the members of the organization.
They were saying, you know, his attorney might in the future, you know, maybe a couple months or whatever, might go and try again to get bail. But he's also already on, I believe, 4 years felony probation. So in New York, I know different states work different, you know, when it comes to probation. But if he was, you know, somehow, you know, 3 months from now able to bail out, would his probation, since these are crimes that happened before, you know, before he was placed on probation, would they still be able to violate him revoke his probation and arrest him on the probation violation? You know, just because all this stuff happened before he was placed on probation, or could they still come and get him just for the fact that he was arrested for something?
Well, in most cases, the federal government will probably supersede a lot of stuff, but in this particular case, I don't think the feds are going to let him go, because you're right, he still has a probation violation, so they could take him if he ultimately gets released. But however, I don't really see that happening too much. I just don't think the feds are going to deny him bail, because they know if they release him and the state takes him, remember, they still have a case to prosecute, so they're not going to let him go back or be in the custody of the state when the federal government's prosecuting. You know what I'm saying?
Can they let him out on bail?
No, I've rarely seen the government let anybody out on bail.
Even if they're cooperating?
Even if they're cooperating, they don't let somebody on bail. You might get out early, but I've never seen them really, in the cases that I've done, have somebody released on bail. You know, generally they would, you know, have them released earlier than what was anticipated with the charges and the crime. For example, if they said that you were going to do 244 months, which the feds always do that, they use months as calculations, a calculation scale, they'll release you probably maybe 100 months or 120 months as opposed to 244 months. So it really all depends, but I never rarely seen them release somebody on bail. That doesn't really happen so much in the federal government.
Right. All right, just to be clear, let's say for some miracle he does get bailed. Now, are they going to pick him up for the probation violation? Because then, like you said, the state gets him.
If a chance he gets bail, which I don't think that's going to happen, the state can come in and say, look, you know, you violated probation because you came into police contact, or you came into contact with a gang, or whatever. They can violate him for a lot of reasons. And the state could take him, but I really, really don't think that's going to happen right now. I think Tekashi's, he's here to stay, so to say.
I was just going to say, and they were saying that some of, part of the reason that they want to keep him in there is because, the gang apparently is putting a violation on him, so they're threatening to shoot him, and, they think that he might be in danger. Not only do they say he's a threat to the community, but he might be in danger himself, so they might just be safer to keep him in there until everything's resolved, and they,
Well, I mean, that is a smart move. I would say the government would do that as well. Keep him in jail until they've had a chance to sort things out. Remember, the case is fairly new. He was only arrested just recently. So the case is going to sit for a while where a bunch of motions are going to be set, bail applications from his attorneys, things such as that. But they're going to wait. It's going to take a little while. But like I said, these other the other guys in the crew that are threatening him, that's going to hurt them more too. So they may want to discontinue. If anybody's thinking about harming him, they may want to revisit that and not even think about doing that.
Right. Since I was in the courtroom, I did see Scott Lehman. I'm not sure who exactly is, if he's representing Tekashi, all of them, or just Tekashi. Scott Lehman, for the people who don't know, he defended Treway for the shooting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Scott Lehman's an attorney. He's a defense attorney. I met Scott Lehman. I mean, he's a good attorney. He's always involved in these hot hip hop rap profile cases. So, I mean, he knows the walk. He knows the talk. And I mean, they got a good attorney. I mean, he'll do the right thing for them.
Right.
He's been around and he's done a lot of these cases, so he knows.
Do you think he could get him off, or he knows what he's doing?
Well, I don't know if Scott's going to do that. I don't know. I assume he has some knowledge of the federal system because he wouldn't be representing him there. But he's a good attorney. So Tekashi is a good attorney. Scott Lehman's a good attorney. I mean, I know a lot of other attorneys that deal with these cases too, but Scott's a good attorney. So, and he deals with the hip hop industry more than a lot others do. So
right.
He knows.
I believe it was TMZ that I read the article, and it was saying that since Tekashi pled no guilty at I believe it was the bond hearing, that supposedly means that he's not taking a deal that they're offering. But so my question with that is, isn't it kind of early to be taking a deal? The months or years or whatever leading up to the trial, then he will still probably come at him with deals, right? Maybe.
Well, what happens in the federal system too is that you become. They ask you to cooperate. So your attorney talks with the U.S. attorney, and they have a proffer agreement set up. If you become a queen, you call it queen for a day, king for a day, whatever it is.
Like the KFD thing.
And what you do is you have to talk about all the violent acts that you committed, so that you can't be prosecuted in the state if that deal is made. But if Tekashi doesn't take a deal, to be honest with you, I don't think it's wise. Listen, he's a young man. He has a great career ahead of him. He got mixed up with something, and Scott Lehman's going to be to tell him what the best scenario is, what the best choices that he's got to make right now.
Right. What are your thoughts on? It gets crazy every day. Like as of now, it came out wiretaps of Shotti, his I guess you could call him his manager, former manager, but he was his guy. Shotti's also a blood member. That he wanted to kill Tekashi. What are your thoughts?
That's not good for Shotti. I mean, with all the information and all the stuff they have against everybody in this organization, that only hurts Shotti a lot more because, eventually what's going to happen is that there's going to be time that people are going to get time. And how much time, that's going to be determined by the magistrate and the U.S. Attorney's Office. They're going to they'll say what they're imposed for them to get.
With these things being leaked to the press, is that damaging from the prosecution side or no?
Well, it's not. You know what? It's not damaging for the prosecution side because, in a way, this is a two-pronged thing. The prosecution could also say the public's heard the tape, so they might already consider him to be guilty. Especially the stuff that's in the press, because people read and people make their own opinions and they say, oh, this guy's guilty. He's a rapper. He's guilty. Then on the other hand, there's people that said, oh, he got set up. This happened, that happened. So it can work both ways. It can help him and it can hurt him.
Right.
But we'll have to see how his lawyer uses that in the court of law to aid in his defense.
Right.
And I feel like Tekashi's kind of in a tough spot because on one hand, like you said, with the streets, you don't want to snitch. But at the same time, they've got videos and pictures of Shotti eating a gun and robbing people. So it's almost like, they already have the evidence on him they need.
That kind of evidence is very strong. And what it says is that the prosecution will go into court if you don't take a deal, and all you have to do is show what you have and what they've got, and you're going to get convicted because the public already has all this knowledge that you're guilty already. They already know that you're guilty. I'm telling you, listen, the case has been tried publicly already. I mean, all this stuff that's being leaked, I'm surprised myself, but I get it. But like you said, it's a lot of the people are going to look at saying, well, we saw the tapes, we saw the videos, we saw this guy, we believe he's guilty.
Right. In the wiretaps, we only got transcripts, but they don't blatantly say, "Hey, I'm gonna kill Tekashi." There are metaphors of it.
Well, that always happens with gang guys. They always listen.
But can you still prove it? Can you still get convicted for?
Sure, you can. All you have to do is present it in a way to the jury where they understand that this is what you meant by that terminology. Listen, when I did blood cases back when I was in gang intel. Before I was in rap intel, we used to have the blood Bible with all the terms and the terminology of what an OG was, what this guy was, all the do's and don'ts. So all you gotta do is present that gang handbook to the court of law, and people know. And listen, people know street terms. They know what they mean. Sometimes you're not gonna say on the phone, "I'm gonna shoot the guy." You might say, "I might have to go over there and just let something fly." You know what I'm saying? And people know what it means. It's street talk. It just is what it is.
Kind of like when they did the PVD, they offered him a proffer session. And you might have already answered this, but do you think that something like that is a possibility where they say to him, look, we're willing to, cut you down to 2 years or let you walk on this, but you have to sit down and tell us everything?
Well,
like when they did with PVD.
That's most likely to happen. Exactly, as you said it. They'll offer him a proffer situation, and his lawyer will agree to that or not agree to it. And in the federal system, everybody agrees to a sit down, and you do a proffer session, and then from there, the government makes the application to downward depart your time if you're cooperative.
Right, and then I guess the only problem with that then is what's going to be the repercussions for doing that once he's released. Just because of the image he's portrayed, but I guess it's what's worse, spending the next 40 years in prison or?
Well, he's in a very tough situation. It's like this is where you can't be a tough guy and say I'm gonna hold my head up high and I'm not gonna snitch or I'm not gonna talk. You don't know if the other guys are gonna do proffer sessions and they're gonna talk. That's another thing he's got to worry about. He doesn't know if those guys are gonna talk either. They may give in and they may cooperate against him. That usually happens. I've had cases like that, where I've had a guy who was the kingpin of the drug organization, and he testified and gave up one of the guys that shot like 5, killed like 10 people. And when I spoke to the girl who really cooked the crack or made the product for him, she held out. She wouldn't give him up until I told her that he already made a deal. And she was pissed because she spent 3 years in jail, where she could have spent maybe 11 months and would have been out.
That's crazy.
And she was pissed about it.
It might be too big of a case to just, there's too many moving pieces maybe, but, based on your experience in law enforcement and everything, if you had to guess, what do you think that he's going to be doing a long time in jail, or do you think that he's going to be able to get it down pretty low?
I don't think he's going to do a lot of time, but, I don't know. The government, he may do, to be honest with you, he may do 5 to 10 years. It looks like those crimes. He may get 5 to 10 years. He could get less. I don't know, but, it's a tough situation right now. Right now, it's too early to tell. We have to wait a little while before they make their applications, their motions in front of the magistrate. And then, the deals will be made on what he's going to get and not get. And if he goes to trial, believe me, I don't think trial's a good thing for him to do. This case has already been tried in the public, so he might want to just cooperate and just get it over with, because there's no telling if those other individuals are going to cooperate themselves against him. They might make him out to be the bad guy,
Right, and then in federal prison, they don't really, if he gets sentenced to, like you said, 5 or 10 years or whatever, they do pretty much all that time, right?
Yes, you have to, in a federal system, you do 90% of your time. You really and truly do. The federal government makes you do your time. That's why I said he got caught up in something really bad. I guess he didn't realize, I guess he did realize or didn't want to realize what was going to happen with this, but he is really an exact sample of what happened to Bobby Shmurda, but on a higher level,
Right.
So, and he's a bigger artist than Bobby Shmurda. Bobby Shmurda was on his way to becoming very big, and Tekashi became big. But now, Tekashi, with all the stuff that he's done, this is really gonna count against him. I'll say this for the record: Tekashi69 is a talented kid. I mean, I don't listen. His music is okay by me. I mean, it's not something I listen to every day, but I listen to it. And it's a shame what happened to him, but it just goes to show you that these guys that want to be in this music and this rap industry, it's okay to be in this industry, but the violence and getting involved with gangs and shootings, that stuff's not going to make you or put you anywhere you want to be. As a matter of fact, it's going to defeat you, and you're going to be the person that's going to be behind bars. And people are going to look back and say, wow, that guy could have made it. He could have been something big. But he chose violence, and he chose the criminal acts, which got him convicted or got him sentenced to prison. So this is a lesson learned. I mean, I think it was good that a lot of rappers came out and said they spoke with him and that they told him to be cool with this stuff,
Right.
So it is what it is. And I wish him, I hope that, he could get himself together and come back out here and be a successful artist, but that's not up to me.
If you predict how this thing is gonna go, how many years?
If I had to predict it, they're gonna get him for several years. It's not gonna be where he's gonna get out after a year. You're looking at somewhere maybe between 5 and 10 years off the bat, and then maybe probation. So, if that comes up, if that comes about, but he's definitely gonna do some time.
And they're taking a trial. It starts in September, so they're probably gonna if they blow trial, they'll double his time.
If he blows trial, the government, believe me, they make you a deal. If you don't take the deal, then the penalties are severe.
Hi.